roads on the likes of Lucas Blakely and Josh Edu, who are on the hards, before, of course, those hard tyres start becoming better than the mediums. But Fassi not giving up just yet, pulling away from the slipstream to make sure they can cool down their engine down the start-finish straight, looking behind him to make sure that Thomas Ronhaar doesn't go for any sort of dive, and make sure see where Thomas Ronhaar's car is in comparison to where his car is down the start-finish straight. But Fassi holding on to P9. Thomas still in the points, and he's going to have Brendan Lee to back him up at the moment. But Brendan Lee is on 2-lap younger tyres, so will he be asking the team at kick, hey, let's switch this around, I've got better tyres?
Yeah, you do have to wonder as they head through the Ślewiak corner now on lap 26 of 36. We've got 10 laps still to go, and Ismail Fassi still persevering against Benham, in behind Ronhaar and Lee. They're both together as well. Further up the order, still the gap the same between Burman and Rasmussen. We've got Manley down in third place now, getting closer. He's within 0.3 of a second, though he's unable to find the answers against the Ferrari in front of him just yet. You get the feeling that it's all going to come down to the final dying moments of this race. You can cut it with a knife. Tension, I mean, as they head through the final couple of corners. There's Fassi on the tail of young Jake Benham, and behind Ronhaar and Brendan Lee. When will frustration start to show? You can imagine there's a few of them out there. A lot of them gaining some reasonable slip, and at the same time with DRS they can plummet their way down towards turn 1. Pedreño and Schipos are now swapping, and you can see now wheel to wheel John Evans is on the rise and brushes past Joni Tormala, and he's on the medium tyres. He's making them work for him, and now he's going to try and tackle Brendan Lee as Alvaro Carreton also tries to enter the top 10 equation.
Yeah, Alvaro Carreton has a great opportunity here. Look at the battery, 72%. I know how he has it dimmed down on his dash at the moment, but you can just about see that there's 70% for him, and you can see Joni Tormala's rear light flashing, so that means that he's got less than 10% deployment in his car. John Evans as well. So Alvaro Carreton will be looking to try and get past both those drivers, but needs to time it with Barry Borman in second place. Tom Manley, this is a driver that we'd be, if we see him win the race, we have 6 different race winners, and we make this championship very interesting indeed. He has battery, he's deploying it at the moment, just a little bit out of the corner, just to make sure that Alfie Butcher doesn't have a look towards turn 1, but holding it for the time being. Barry, though, right up behind Freddie Rasmussen there.
Yeah, here comes Alvaro Carreton down the inside. He's going to go for a double overtake, I think. He's going to try and tackle John Evans coming out of turn 1. Carreton, remember, with that energy under his belt, he's managed to
display an attack at Freddie Rasmussen. Got very close running down into the first corner, but now dropped off just a little bit, 0.6 of a second between those two. He's still within that DRS marker, does want to close up that gap just to make sure it does not slip out of 1 second. Look at the back of the train now. Danny Moreno, not being the most impressive day there for Danny Moreno. He started his life up into that top 10 and was looking like he could potentially score some points on his return to F1 sim racing, but somehow he's found himself in P14 at the moment as he goes for the overtake on Joni Tormala, who has not got that deployment for the time being. Tom Manley pulling out of the slipstream there of Barry Borman just to cool the engine, as Alfie Butcher was also doing the same, moving to the left, getting away from Tom Manley. Further down the field, penalties, of course, for Ruben Pedreño, Patrick Schipos. We've got a battle here. John Evans going wheel to wheel with Alvaro Carreton. Carreton's been trying to get past him for a while, and he finally does it and moves himself up into P12.
Yeah, I've been impressed with Carreton. Obviously coming back from illness today. Did not feature because Will Lewis came in as his substitute. Here comes Danny Moreno, who's now also looking to try and brush past John Evans. They make contact heading through the Ślewiak corner. Moreno committing to the outside, and the Papaya McLaren sends it up the outside. Oh my goodness me, very nearly lost the car altogether, just managing to catch it. Superior driving skills. We know he loves to race on the edge, and he's done it again. P13 for Danny Moreno.
No inch given between those two drivers, and John Evans in the end just making slight contact with Danny Moreno on the outside of that corner, but Moreno was able to edge him out of the track and get that position and move himself up into P13. Alvaro Carreton, fantastic manoeuvre there to get to P12. None of them, though, losing the DRS from the drivers, which is obviously the important thing. You want to make these overtakes, of course. You want to move yourself up the field. But if you're going to
Pedreño for the Alpine team as they look to try and close up to John Evans. Unfortunately, Evans' energy, I think, is betraying him again here this time. Pedreño with a chance here on hard tyres. Evans' tyres also must be failing here at this point because he's being picked off by the likes of Carreton and Moreno and a few other cars that have also had a go at him heading through towards the final portions of this race. Still Rasmussen out in front. Barry Burman not out of the equation here, though. Still remains 0.6 away and has every chance, but he's going to need that DRS I think later on in this race, timing has never been more important. Very much like he timed his move at Spa on Lucas Blakely to take race victory, he needs to do the same again this time. This is a battle between two race winners this season, looking to take their second.
And build up his battery for them. Tom Manley, though, still all over the back of Barry Burman at this stage of the race, and he'll be looking for that opportunity further down the field. I think those drivers are just struggling with their ERS management, because if you look up at the front, Tom Manley, he's very, very comfortable in this race. 62% battery for him so far. I'm sure Barry has something very similar, as does Freddie Rasmussen, as do those drivers at the front. But the reason they're falling through the field, Yoni Tormela, John Evans, Ruben Pedreno, they all just don't have any battery left in their car. So when they want to defend, they've got nothing to defend with.
No, not at all. We're taking a look at the rear wing on Barry Burman's car. He looks to try and persevere and build that gap between he and Tom Manley, trying to use the ERS to close the gaps as they look to perhaps manoeuvre away through the corners here at Zandvoort. The elevation also being tricky for many of the drivers to contest with. Further back, Sheepos and Pedreno now swapping places as Sheepos now moves up to 16th place. As we now see Manley getting very close again to the back of the Scuderia Ferrari. Remember, of course, Manley, I've alluded to him being an F1 Esports Challengers champion on Xbox in the past. Certainly no surprise to see him at the highest level. He's got the fellow F1 Esports Challengers champion Alfie Butcher in behind. Only his was won on the PC platform, of course, the platform that we do have with this F1 Esports or this F1 Sim Racing World Championship on, as they now make their way through on lap 34 of 36. 2 laps to magic await them this time. Freddie Rasmussen bidding to become a 2-time race winner this season, and also a 2-time race winner here at the Dutch Grand Prix circuit of Zandvoort.
They'll be very comfortable in the Red Bull family, knowing you've got two very strong drivers in Freddie Rasmussen and Josh Edo, currently in the top 5 at the moment. But of course, the young talent.
If Freddie Rasmussen does continue, he should mathematically take the championship lead at this point, with Barry Burman in behind in second place. We're on the penultimate lap of the race this time as they make their way through the middle sector through towards turn 10. Manley further up, still 4 tenths behind Burman, and Burman losing time on Rasmussen further up, who seems to be now applying the pressure, turning the screw, using that ERS to try and build that gap. But of course, with Burman having DRS, he's able to retain at least some of the delta, but it slips away as he makes his way through some of the apexes of the corners. Rasmussen looking like he's on the better tyres right now, and not only that, holds enough of a comfortable gap in order to retain this P1, and he'll need it as they now begin the final lap of the race here on lap 36. Freddie Rasmussen still leads, Barry Burman getting closer, but not close enough to make a move at all.
The chat going crazy, awaiting for a last lap battle. Barry Burman 4 tenths behind, but you've got to watch this man, Tom Manley. He's most likely to make an overtake on this final lap, right behind Barry Burman, as they're fighting for that second place in this race. Both on the podium, a fantastic performance from Manley, but also watch out for Alfie Butcher behind.
Freddie's
it's been
flashing.
a strong performance, and Freddie is flashing. That is interesting to see, because Barry Burman can now go on the attack into this second DRS zone.
He certainly can, coming through now out to the Sloviak corner through turns 9 and through towards turn 10, with Freddie's rear light flashing suggests that the ERS has finally been depleted, but enough of a gap surely has been built. Heading down towards turn 11 at the chicane, there you see Barry Burman in behind. I think more concerned about Manley in third place, but Freddie Rasmussen getting the jettison out of these final corners now. He's going to look to round turn 13, very soon to be turn 14 alike. The Red Bull giving him wings once again, and it's double Dutch Grand Prix delight for Freddie Rasmussen. The Great Dane scores a second victory of the season here in the Formula One Sim Racing Dutch Grand Prix.
He left it close though. Barry Burman 1 tenth behind, trying to fight back on the right to the death, right to the line there, and unfortunately just missed out.